Preparing 3D files. Twinmotion is a very good program for visualization, but it's not for modeling. If you have a project that you want to visualize in Twinmotion, you will first need to model it in another 3D program like 3ds Max, SketchUp, Cinema 4D, ArchiCAD, Rhino, or Revit. So before we import our 3D files into Twinmotion, we will need to prepare them first, so that our workflow goes much easier. In this lesson, I am going to cover the most important points that we need to take care of before we go into Twinmotion. I will be working with 3ds Max because that's my preferred software for 3D modeling. But the concept of these preparations applies to other 3D software as well. Let's get started. So here is a finished villa design project that we did earlier. Modeling done in 3ds Max and materials was V-Ray materials. Let's learn the concept of how to prepare this file. So concept number 1, apply materials placeholder. In our project, we need to have materials applied to our objects in the scene. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could only be just colored materials with no textures. But assigning a different material for each object will help greatly in Twinmotion, as all of these materials will be replaced by Twinmotion materials. So, for example, this stair has a material applied to it in Max, different than that material of these steps, or this object, or the grass area. So, each object will have its own material. So when I'm in Twinmotion, I will just replace it easily. The second concept of how to prepare the Max file is to have a correct UVW mapping for our object. That's how textures are applied to that object, so it'd be easier in Twinmotion to have correct material scale and UVs. For example, this grass area has a UVW of box with correct dimensions. Third concept, use the Twinmotion library for common objects. Twinmotion has a very good library that we can utilize to our advantage. We don't need to add shrubs, trees, lampposts, people, cars, or animals. All these are present in Twinmotion library, animated with good materials and all. One of the smart things to do is to have areas of different vegetation on different objects, so I can paint grass or shrubs on it later. Like this light color area, I can easily fill it up later inside Twinmotion with my desired shrubs. Most furniture as well, you will find a replacement to it in Twinmotion, unless you need a special designed furniture or objects like this shed that has a special design and dimensions. So we will keep it and we will adjust its materials inside Twinmotion. Same applies with the streets, parking sheds, parking doors, and so on. The fourth concept, be aware of the starting ground. Twinmotion has a built-in starting ground that covers the entire scene. This starting ground is at the 0 level, but if you have some stuff in your projects below that 0 level, for example, this swimming pool here, it will be covered by this ground. So in this case, we will have to delete this starting ground in Twinmotion and make our correct ground in Max. In our case study, I made this gray ground surrounding our project, and I made another far surrounding ground for the far surroundings. Concept number 5, the more organized in your workflow, the easier things will be in Twinmotion. If you are used to working with layers and groups in your 3D software and everything is organized, that will help you greatly inside Twinmotion. And yes, for V-Ray users, do not keep V-Ray proxy objects in the Max files. They will not be read in Twinmotion. And don't worry, not everything has to be perfect in this stage. We can easily adjust stuff and re-import them easily in Twinmotion later. And now our file is ready to be exported to Twinmotion. Twinmotion doesn't read Max files, so we will have to export our Max file to .fbx. Go Files, Export, and press Export. Choose FBX from here, choose where to save it, give it a name, and press Save. Default settings and press OK. Give it a minute to export. And you might get some warnings and errors that some V-Ray materials or lighting are not compatible with FBX and doesn't get exported. Just press OK. And now our file is exported at the saved location as FBX. We will now close Max and we will learn how to import that FBX file in Twinmotion and start our Twinmotion project in the next video.